Hey, Blue Raider Nation, we have something special for you all this homecoming week with us celebrating and honoring the 40th and 60th anniversary of our two undefeated teams for the football program, the 1965 and 1985 teams. And who better to talk about that than and reminisce those moments, those historic moments with, than the two quarterbacks themselves, Teddy Morris and Marvin Collier, the ones that were in the pocket and that helped lead those teams to victory. So, Teddy, we're going to start off with you first. And we're going to go back to the very beginning of your story with Middle. I know that you are one of two players that have your jersey retired, number 14. But at first, you didn't know if you were going to play football, right? So let's go into that moment whenever you decided to take a chance on Middle for football.
Well, I wanted to play baseball. We talked about that a while ago because I was better at baseball, much better at baseball than I was in football at that time. But they had no scholarships for baseball back then. So Jack Jolly, I mentioned Jack Jolly a while ago, he got me interested, and he got to talking to Coach Murphy. And Coach Murphy said, well, what's he going to play? And he said, well, he can play 2 or 3 different positions. He can play quarterback. He can play something else, defensive back. And so this went on for a while. And finally, I guess they couldn't get anybody else. I was the last one around. Anyway, Coach Murphy got with Jack Jolly, and they got together and he said, okay, let's get Teddy. So that's how I ended up there. And no other school looked at me.
All right, Marvin, now looking at you, you are known for your dual threat ability in the pocket. You could run, you could throw. But as Boots Donnelly would say, the man, the myth, the legend, you had elasticity underneath your belt. You were first in all-time offense, 5,886 yards, second in passing completion yards, and only quarterback in the history with 3 consecutive seasons with 1,000-plus yards in passing. But what was your journey like to get to the blue and white 40 years ago?
I started out with Coach Five Ash, making a visit to my high school because one of my coaches was a player of his when he was coaching in high school. He was actually recruiting some players off of 2 other teams that we had played against and decided I was a possible prospect that he would share with the offensive coaches. So he came to our high school, talked to me, and then later on he had Coach Robbins come watch me play basketball, which I didn't really understand because I didn't get the connection between the two, obviously. It's like, okay, why is he coming to watch me play basketball? It has nothing to do with football. But they showed up, and then they invited me to come to MTSU for a recruiting visit. And after the recruiting visit, when I got back, I got a recruiting call from Austin P, which I was like, okay, well, why is I getting this call? But I came to them as well. Eventually it came down to a decision where I wanted to actually play basketball. I liked that a lot more because of the back and forth action always being on the court. But I love football. I didn't really practice being a basketball player when I was a young person, but we would do everything during the summers and everything for football. So I said, I really love football, and whether I play or not, I really don't care. When it came down to it, I chose the football scholarship, MTSU.
So let's go deeper into each team. So again, Teddy, for you, 1965, one of the undefeated teams, but there were 5 different games throughout that season where you all were down and you came back and you won it all, okay? But I'm going to talk about one specific game. I'm going to kind of set the scene for you. Tennessee Tech, Thanksgiving Day. Last game of the season, and they threatened to take away your undefeated season. They were on the field goal line. They were close to, okay, you got your notes. And you all intercepted a ball.
We were behind with probably 8 or 9 minutes to go, and they're moving the ball down the field, first down. They're getting down to about, I'd say, the 15-yard line. They threw a pass, the first pass he had thrown. A boy by the name of Billy Warren intercepted it, ran it back all the way for a touchdown. We win the game.
Do you remember the environment that you were in? Were people going crazy?
I was going crazy. Way to go, Billy,
So now Marvin, 1985. There were 2 different times where you all went into overtime. Murray State and Youngstown State. I know that there was a lot of chemistry between you all at that point in time with the team, but I want you to explain that more to me, the pure grit that you all had, because you all were ranked number 1 in the country at that point in time.
Well, it was a lot of luck too.
A lot of luck.
Yeah, but you got to believe in yourself. One play in particular against Youngstown State, we ended up with the 5th down. We weren't supposed to have it, of course. So we had intentionally kicked the ball out of bounds, which should have been a loss of down, but they did not give us a loss of down. They let us replay the down over. So we actually had 5 downs to get 35 yards, and on the last play, a guy makes a miraculous catch from us, and it propels us into the end zone, and then we were able to recover a fumble from them on the next series that they had in overtime and won the game. So, yeah, so a little bit of luck, but otherwise, throughout the game, we did have to rely on each other to try to stay in the game mentally as well.
Can you still take yourself back into that moment whenever you're talking about it, like maybe reliving that exact moment that it happened?
Whenever I see it. I've seen it a couple of times, but yeah, it's kind of hard to relive that particular one because it's kind of happening real quick. It was like a sudden change. You get sacked, and now you got to get up and run the play. So it happened real quick, whereas, all right, you got to find somebody to throw it to, and hopefully somebody catches it at that point when you let it go because we had no other option at that point.
That's crazy. Okay. Teddy, you held 2 records that stood for over 30 years. That's amazing. But I know that you would say that you couldn't have done that without your teammates. And I want you to tell me, in your own words, what you think made that 1965 team so special.
We had a lot of good guys that wanted to play football. You know, they were there to play football. And Boots Donnelly was one of them. And he's a good friend of mine, by the way. And when Boots said jump, we all jumped, you know. And from there, it was just, let's go.
You just love the game of football.
Especially when you're winning.
Winning definitely makes it better. That's for sure. Well, Marvin, do you remember a specific memory of that season? Because you were a freshman.
Well, the moment was when the quarterback that was slated to be the starting quarterback decided not to continue on with the season. So that's what propelled me to be a starting quarterback. So once that happened, it just became a chance to say, your opportunity is here, do what you can with it. And teammates, coaches didn't have any doubt once I did become a quarterback. There was no question of whether I should be there or not. We just felt we had a team, and whoever's, as they say, next person up, you got to play. So everybody was within that agreement, basically.
So when this fell into your lap, you were ready to take charge. You were ready to be that leader in the pocket.
Well, not really, because I was expecting him to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the year. And I was kind of like, okay, well, he'll be a senior this year. I'll just be ready when my time comes. Hopefully it doesn't, because we had developed a pretty good relationship the year before. He was the second team quarterback. I was the third team. So we were the roommates during the season. So I had become, best I could tell, close with him, and we had a little relationship that I was like, okay, well, it's your turn. You're a senior. I'll wait my turn, and then
you didn't wait
things
that
changed.
long.
Things changed, and it didn't happen that way.
So we keep talking about the coaches. We talk about Boots, of course, but for you, Teddy, you were coached by Charles Bubber Murphy, and he held the reins. But what do you remember about him that was so special for you being coached by him? What was unique about the way that he coached you?
As long as things were going well, it was great. And he would get upset too sometimes. Now, Boots would get upset sometimes, but as long as things was going well, and he moved me around. I told you, I didn't know what I was going to play, and they moved me around, and I wasn't good enough to play defensive back. I was too slow to play running back. So finally, my last choice was play quarterback. So I jumped in there at quarterback, and seemed like I improved each day as we went along there for a couple of years. Yeah. And that's what it was.
So you keep bringing up Boots and how you play with him. You said if Boots said how for you to jump, you asked how high. What else was it like for you?
We were freshmen the same year, and neither one of us played, I think, for varsity. But we were out there on the field, and we were scrimmaging, And I was playing defensive back and coming up and hitting the big fullback, and I didn't like that either. And it just went on from there. And then finally, after about the next year, they thought maybe I could play quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And so, sure enough, first quarterback got hurt, and the second quarterback didn't do the job, and they put me in. It was about the fourth or fifth game of the year. They put me in, and then I didn't do much. First time I played. The next game, they put me in second half, and I went 9 for 9, and then from after that, I was quarterback.
We're going to go to you, Marvin, with good old Boots Donley and his Boots-isms. Walk me through your time and your journey with Boots and how that was.
Oh, well, it was pretty good, actually, because I kind of enjoyed some of from afar sometimes. It wasn't directed at me, so you kind of enjoy some of the stuff that he's saying to other people, which I guess my first year here, like I said, I was redshirted. So I got a chance to kind of see him interact with other quarterbacks. So I kind of watched that, and I guess it kind of prepared me for when I did get my opportunity. That basically he was doing stuff I hadn't seen before as during practices, whereas he was yelling at the quarterback while he's trying to call a play and walking between players. And I was like, what is going on? That he's walking between these players. These people might run into him, and he's talking to this quarterback, but that quarterback never got flustered. So I realized once that happened, he was just going to continue to talk to see how much he could irritate you, and if you couldn't, then that could be a sign that you're not ready for the position. So I kind of learned from actually being here a year earlier, watching some of the way he treated people in terms of trying to prepare us for games and other things. So he's trying to make sure mentally we were kind of tough. And to me, I think that was the best part about it is really if you could listen and kind of block out what he was saying, then you could block out what other persons were saying too on a game. You don't get frustrated, basically. So I just kind of took it that. And like I said, the guy in front of me and the other person, his name was Mickey Corin. So the way I watched Mickey handle Coach Donnelly, I kind of felt, okay, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And he's not going to do much else. So as long as you could do it, and he treated pretty much all of us the same. He wouldn't just do it to the quarterbacks, but he did it to all the players. Mm-hmm. And so I just felt like, hey, this is the way he's going to coach. Can I adapt to it? And I figured yes. And I had been through some of the similars with my high school coaches and other coaches as well, just a little bit, but not to the degree.
Well, again, his coaching methods obviously worked. He's, other than Charles Murphy, they're both the winningest coaches in football program history. And he is also, for Boots, the only person at MTSU to be in the College Football Hall of Fame, which is incredible. I'm going to read you a Bootsism that maybe you have heard or maybe people in passing have told you about, possibly. The wind does not affect the ball if you stroke it correctly. Do you remember that? Or did he say it?
He probably said it many times. He said a lot of things, but he's basically saying if you throw the pass with velocity and speed, you can probably take care of the wind.
It should get there.
Yes, it should get there.
I also heard that there was a rumor going around, season opener in '85, when the coaches were a little nervous that maybe you were a little antsy or, you were stepping into this new role. They weren't sure how you were feeling before the game. They walked into the locker room and you were asleep. Is that true?
It probably was. We used to have to be there 3 hours before the game. So, we'd go and sit down. And
3 hours?
Yeah. As soon as we would eat our pregame meal, most of the time we had to go and then come to the locker room. So, if I was there 3 hours ahead of time, I probably was asleep. So he's probably not too far away.
And speaking of a pregame meal, I've also heard there's so many things with Boots, is you all were only allowed one condiment or one sauce that you could use with your pregame meal. Do you remember this?
Well, again, I have to kind of go back to '84 because I was here a year early.
Okay.
So there was no stirring of the tea where it hits the glass. And I didn't drink tea anyway, so it didn't bother me. But I was getting a little thirsty because I didn't drink tea. I drank so much when I was younger. I wanted water, but couldn't ask for it. So it was like you eat your food and then you go. That's what I was doing. And finally, somebody asked for water one day, and I was so happy it was an upperclassman. And when they brought water, I was really happy because I was like, I'm not going to ask because nobody else is knowing it, but when one person did it and they brought the water, I was happy because now I could eat my food and drink water at the same time.
All right, Teddy, I know that we talked about this last time I saw you. You and your wife, Sandra. How long have y'all been married? Because I know recently, or here recently, you celebrated an anniversary, correct?
58 years.
58
I forgot.
years.
I'm in trouble.
58 years, but you all met here on campus. I want you to tell me the story about how you all met.
She was a cheerleader.
Of course.
Okay. And so this was the last game of the year, and we had a photographer out there, and George Dykes, you've all heard of George Dykes, one of the greatest receivers ever around here. He was out there, and I was out there, and they were going to take our picture and put it in the paper, you know. So Sandra is out there. They're over there. I guess, were you on the sideline over there, or was this, did you know you were supposed to be there? Okay, she knew she was supposed to be there. So she came out, and I looked at her, and so to make to make a long story short, we've been married 57 years. That was the same cheerleader.
That's amazing. So you not only got an undefeated season, but you also got your future wife. What more could you ask for?
I couldn't ask for much more.
So I'm going to ask both of you all this, but let's start with you, Marvin. What does it mean to you to still be recognized as one of the best teams to ever come out of this football program?
The last word you kind of said, teams, because that's really the most important part is that we have one of the better teams. And I don't mean that compared to our teams, but that was a team for the NCAAs, if you will. We had one of the better teams in the country. So from that standpoint, that's the most important, that it was a team thing because, like you said, nobody blocks, I don't do anything. Nobody catches, nobody runs. So, and if you throw an interception, somebody got to get the ball back for you. So you got to have a whole team to do anything. So that's the most important part of the process, was that we had a good team.
All right, Teddy, what about you? What does it mean to you to still be seen as one of the best teams?
Well, I'm proud of that fact, you know. We had some good players, and we worked hard, and coaches were good to us as long as we were winning, and we didn't lose it that year. And I don't know, it's after that, it was just, we played 4 teams that we had the ball in the fourth quarter. We didn't have the ball until in the fourth quarter, and we were behind in the fourth quarter. And we came back and won. And that was only 3 teams. Yeah. Tennessee Tech, Austin P, and Western, I believe, was the other one. Yeah.
So pure grit, pure resilience from both of you all. And thank you all again for speaking with me and for reminiscing on such amazing moments from both the 1965 and 1985 teams. You all truly paved the way for so many people here. Even if you want to be humble about it, you truly did. But yes, thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Yes, thank you.